There is a saying in Nigerian politics that has held true for decades. Show me who did not support, and I will show you the next president of Nigeria. It is not a perfect rule. It has been challenged before, but the underlying reality behind it is undeniable. The northern region of Nigeria, with its enormous population spread across 19 states, has historically been the single most decisive factor in determining who wins a Nigerian presidential election. Any candidate who secures a strong northern showing while maintaining credible support in at least one other region has always had a clear path to Aso Rock. That is why what is happening in the north right now is the most important political story in Nigeria, and why both the opposition and the ruling party are watching it with a level of anxiety that they are struggling to conceal. Because for the first time in recent Nigerian electoral history, nobody knows who the north is going to support. Not the politicians, not the party strategists, not the traditional rulers, not the influential elders who have historically served as the north's political compass. The region that has always been the most predictable factor in Nigerian presidential mathematics has become, heading into 2027, the most unpredictable. Three candidates are competing for the North's loyalty simultaneously. Each one has a genuine claim, each one has real support, and each one is pulling Northern voters in a different direction at the same time. And in a region suffering from hunger, insecurity, and broken promises, who does the North ultimately trust with its future? This is the most important political question in Nigeria right now, and the answer will decide the 2027 election. Stay right here, the full analysis is coming. If you are new here, subscribe right now and turn on your notification bell. Share this video before we continue, because understanding the northern political situation is understanding the entire 2027 election. To understand why the North is divided, you first need to understand what the North is dealing with on the ground. The 19 northern states are not experiencing an abstract political debate. They are living through a daily crisis that touches every household, every family, and every community in the region. Banditry has turned farming communities in the northwest into war zones where people are afraid to go to their own fields. Kidnapping for ransom has become so common in some areas that it is discussed the way traffic is discussed in Lagos as an unavoidable feature of daily life rather than an emergency. Food prices have reached levels that a significant portion of the northern population simply cannot manage. The North, which has always had high poverty rates, is now facing hunger on a scale that aid organizations are describing with increasing alarm. The economic policies of the current administration, fuel subsidy removal, currency devaluation, rising inflation hit the North with particular severity because the region's economy is heavily dependent on agriculture and informal trade, both of which are acutely sensitive to transportation cost and price instability. This is the environment in which northern voters are making their 2027 decision, not in comfortable living rooms with stable internet connections, but in communities where the question of who to vote for is inseparable from the question of who will make it possible to eat tomorrow. With that context established, let us examine the three candidates fighting for the North support. Tinubu enters the 2027 race with the structural advantages of incumbency. He controls federal resources. He has the APC machinery, the most extensive political organization in the country, working on his behalf. He has the ability to direct government spending, announce projects, and make policy decisions that carry the weight of a sitting presidency behind them. But in the North, these advantages are running directly into the wall of lived experience. The northern voter is not reading policy papers or listening to press briefings. They are buying food at prices that have doubled and tripled since Tinubu took office. They are paying fuel costs that make every journey to the market, to the hospital, to the school a financial calculation. They are watching their children grow up in communities where the government's most visible presence is not a school or a clinic, but a military checkpoint that has not stopped the bandits. Tinubu's choice of Kashim Shettima as his running mate, a northeastern politician with strong Muslim North credentials, was designed to anchor his northern support. But even Shettima's presence has not been sufficient to reverse the fundamental problem. When people are suffering, they do not vote for the person who caused the suffering simply because that person shares their region or their religion. The northern political elites, particularly the governors and senators aligned with the APC, will work to deliver votes for Tinubu through the instruments of state power. But there is a growing gap between what the party leadership can organize at the top and what ordinary northern voters are feeling at the bottom. That gap is Tinubu's most dangerous vulnerability in the region. Atiku represents something very specific to northern voters' continuity of northern political identity. He is from Adamawa State in the northeast. He has been a fixture in northern political life for decades. His network of relationships, loyalties, and obligations stretches across every northern state in ways that newer political entrants simply cannot replicate. Historically, this has been his greatest asset. The North's tendency to rally behind its own, regardless of party or platform, has been the foundation of every Atiku presidential campaign. But 2027 presents him with challenges that his northern identity alone cannot solve. The first challenge is credibility. Atiku has run for the presidency multiple times and has not won. In northern political circles, repeated failure without victory eventually erodes the perception of electability, and electability is what matters most to the political elite, who ultimately organize and direct voter mobilization. Supporting a candidate who cannot win is a political investment that yields no return. The second challenge is the ADC's institutional crisis. Running a presidential campaign from a platform in legal and organizational turmoil is enormously difficult. It discourages the kind of heavyweight political alignment that Atiku needs to be competitive. The third and most significant challenge is the one that has fundamentally altered the northern political landscape for 2027, the presence of Rabiu Kwankwaso. For the first time in a presidential election cycle, Atiku faces genuine competition for the northern vote from within the north itself. He is no longer the only credible northern political voice in the race, and that changes everything. In the 2023 election, Peter Obi's northern penetration was limited. His movement was strongest in the south and among urban, educated voters nationwide. But the North's deeply rooted political structures, organized around established figures and traditional loyalties, did not move significantly in his direction. 2027 is a fundamentally different situation. Rabiu Kwankwaso is not simply a popular politician from Kano. He is one of the most deeply embedded political figures in the entire northern region. His influence in Kano State, the most populous state in Nigeria, is built on decades of direct engagement with ordinary people, a track record of visible infrastructure development during his time as governor, and a personal loyalty from his supporters that has survived multiple party changes and political pressures. The Kwankwaso movement, identifiable by its distinctive red cap and jacket, is not a social media phenomenon. It is a genuine grassroots organization with structures at the ward and local government level that have been built and maintained over years. When Kwankwaso speaks, his people listen. When he moves, his people move with him. His partnership with Peter Obi through the OK movement creates something that was absent from the 2023 Obi campaign, a northern anchor, a credible, established, deeply trusted northern voice saying to northern voters, "This is my candidate, this is my partner, and this is the direction I am pointing." For northern voters who want change but are uncertain about a candidate from the southeast, Kwankwaso's endorsement addresses that uncertainty directly. It says, "You are not being asked to trust a stranger. You are being asked to trust someone that your own trusted leader has chosen to stand with." The OK movement's rallies in Kano, Kaduna, and other northern cities have demonstrated that this partnership has genuine resonance at the grassroots level. The crowds are real, the enthusiasm is organic, and the combination of Obi's policy credibility with Kwankwaso's northern organizational strength creates a ticket that is structurally equipped to compete across the entire country. What makes the northern situation so genuinely uncertain is that all three of these forces, Tinubu's incumbency, Atiku's northern identity, and the OK movement's organizational strength, have real claims on different segments of the northern electorate. The political elite, the governors and senators who control state resources and can direct voter mobilization through official channels, are largely aligned with the APC out of political necessity. Their access to federal patronage depends on maintaining that alignment. But the broadest and most volatile segment of the northern electorate, the ordinary voters, the young people, the farmers, the traders, the market women, are the ones whose allegiance is most genuinely in play. These are the people living the consequences of the current administration's economic decisions. These are the people whose communities are under attack from bandits and kidnappers. These are the people who have the least to lose by voting for change and the most to gain. This segment is where the OK movement is making its most significant inroads. And it is this segment that northern political leaders currently cannot confidently predict or control. The honest assessment is this: the North going into 2027 is genuinely divided in a way that has not been seen in previous election cycles. No single candidate has locked down the region. No single force has consolidated Northern support behind one direction. In electoral terms, a divided North is a North whose votes scatter, and scattered Northern votes, combined with a strong and united Southern showing, create the conditions under which a candidate like Peter Obi, who does not need to win the North outright, but simply needs to perform credibly across it, can build a winning national coalition. The question is not only who wins the North, the question is whether anyone wins it decisively enough to make it matter in the way it has historically mattered. If the North splits three ways in 2027, Nigeria's presidential election may be decided less by northern consolidation and more by the relative margins in the South, the Midwest, and the urban centers where the OK movement has consistently demonstrated its strongest performance. That is a scenario the APC did not plan for, and it is one that the NDC, if it maintains its current momentum, is well positioned to exploit. The North is confused, the North is divided, and the North is suffering. What the North does with that suffering on election day will be the most important political act in Nigeria in 2027. This is Nigerian News Media, and we will continue to analyze every dimension of the 2027 election as it develops.